don't feel afraid to go bold on your worktop. And as always, let's get straight into today's topic, how to design a two-tone kitchen correctly. So a two-tone kitchen is where we have two different colors or textures within the same kitchen, and this relates to the door fronts of the kitchen, so not the worktop or the flooring or the handles. So let's just ignore all the other finishes of the kitchen for now and just concentrate on the front door finish of the units. Of course, I have clients who want their kitchen all one color, and again, I still like that. I definitely say I'm more of a minimalist than a maximalist, so still love an all one color kitchen if you're going for a very minimalistic kitchen. However, even if you went with a minimalist kitchen, you could still have a two-tone kitchen, so don't feel like two-tone kitchens like there's too much going on. You can definitely still have a minimal kitchen, but also two-tone. There's lots of different types of two-tone kitchens. This is one of the kitchens that I've designed. So we have two different colored doors here. One is a really nice copper door, and it looks different in different lights depending on the angle that you're looking at it. It can look quite dark, and then it can also look quite copper. It just pairs very nicely with a bold worktop. So here we have the Decton Laurent. It's one of my favorite Decton worktops, so I think this just goes really nicely because the veining in this worktop goes great with the copper in the island. And then we also have a matte door on the back wall, but this isn't just a normal matte door. It does have some variation in color, but you don't really notice that until you get more closer or up close to the door. So from afar, it looks almost black, and then as you get closer, you see more detail. So this is, again, one of my favorite doors that I do. This is definitely a very industrial kind of kitchen, so it's not everybody's cup of tea. It's a very bold kitchen. Let me know in the comments, is this too bold for you? Do you love it? What would you change? What would you keep? So this client actually ended up changing this worktop. So we're going with a different worktop for this kitchen, but I just still love it with the Laurent. So that's why I'm showing you with the Laurent. This, of course, is a very bold two-tone kitchen. Okay, moving on to the next two-tone kitchen we're going to discuss. This one is not so industrial, so this is probably going to be a bit more palatable for most people. So this next kitchen color scheme is what most of my clients go for. So it's kind of a beige or a light gray with a darker door, but they're both matte doors because the matte doors that I offer are also anti-fingerprint. So again, it's one of my favorite kitchen doors to use because it looks very modern, but also the functionality just means you're not going to be constantly wiping down fingerprints when you're using the kitchen, because we also need the kitchen to be functional as well as look great. So this next kitchen, I'll show you the first design that we had and then what we ended up with at the end. Designing a kitchen is always a journey. You always start with one design, and where you end up sometimes can be completely different, or it could just have a few tweaks. So this kitchen actually went kind of from A to B, kind of back to A. So let's just get straight into it. First kitchen was very industrial. This one is what I would call more kind of modern luxe. So it's matte doors with gold finishes. I design each kitchen differently. It depends on the client and what kind of look they're going for their kitchen. Which do you guys prefer, the industrial or the modern luxe? The one thing that these two kitchens actually both have in common is that they are both handleless and handled. So don't always think that if you're going for a modern kitchen, it has to be all handleless. You can mix some handles in with the handleless. So as you can see in the first kitchen, we've got handles on that back wall, but then the whole island is handleless. And then in the second kitchen, we've got handles again on the back wall, and then the island and the kind of sink run and the area around the hob, that is all handleless. So we have that really nice kind of gold strip handle rail going around the kitchen where we have the handleless units, and then we have some really nice textured handles on the pocket door and the larders. Would you guys go for a completely handleless kitchen, or would you mix in some handles as well? Let me know in the comments. If you're enjoying this video, please don't forget to give the video a like. It really helps me out, and let's just get straight back to the video. Okay, so the next kitchen we're going to talk about, I have already made a more in-depth video on this kitchen if you would like to watch that. This video is about two-tone kitchens and how to design them correctly. And one thing I'll say is don't feel like you have to stick to just two tones. When I talk about a two-tone kitchen, I'm kind of thinking more than one, basically. So don't be afraid to introduce a third or a fourth texture into your kitchen. I will say, however, this point is definitely more for medium to large size kitchens. So the reality of a small kitchen is that unless you have one bowl and one knife and fork, once you actually move into your kitchen and you put all of your appliances and your cutlery and your food into the kitchen, it can start to look a bit cluttered if you have too much going on. So in quite small kitchens, I like to keep them very minimal and kind of all to one color. For example, this kitchen here, I have designed it all navy blue, but then I just added one shelf in a kind of laminate wood finish just to add in a texture, but again, not to make the space feel too busy by adding it in multiple places. Again, this was quite a small kitchen, so we wanted to make sure we kept the kitchen feeling nice and calm and not too busy. But I guess you could still kind of call this a two-tone kitchen because I did add in that floating shelf in a different texture. I guess if you have quite a small kitchen and you want to do two-tone, I'd say kind of keep it minimal, keep one color as the focal and the second color as just little pops here and there. And I really do like to add a wood grain into a matte kitchen. I just think it adds some depth as well to the design. Got a bit off track there, but the point I was making was if you have a more medium to large size kitchen, don't be afraid to layer different textures. For example, in this kitchen here, I would say it's more on the kind of Scandi vibe, as most of the kitchen is in a wood grain, and I love an all wood kitchen as well. I mean, I think I just love most kitchens, but this one, I mean, I made a whole video about it. This is one of my favorite kitchens that I've designed, definitely, just because I love all the different layers of textures, and I love a handled kitchen. I know that most people you know might be going for a handleless kitchen, but don't be afraid of handles. So this kitchen, when you first look at it, you'll think two-tone because it's the wood grain and then the black doors. But there's actually 4 different door materials in this one kitchen. We have, of course, the light oak color that covers most of the kitchen. Then we have the bank of larder units, which is larders and fridges, which is actually a black veneered wood paneled door. And this is one of my favorite doors, but yeah, so that's the second. And then above the hob, we have a glass door. So that's our third texture. And then by the sink, we have a matte black door. So that's our 4th texture. So on first glance at this kitchen, you wouldn't think that there's too much going on, but it's because the textures have been layered subtly and in certain areas to make parts of the kitchen the focal point. For example, the paneled blackwood larder units are definitely the focal point of this kitchen, as well as the glass units above the hob, because that's just a really nice display. You could still have a nice new modern kitchen, but with handles. And I think handles are making a comeback as well, because of course there's all these really nice textured handles on the market these days, and everyone's loving the textured handles. So I think handles are going to be making a comeback. I think maybe I should have added that to my 2023 kitchen trends video. This is a completely different kitchen to the first 2, but what do you think? Would you prefer to kind of have just 2 colors in your kitchen, or maybe layering up to 4? So in this kitchen, we have the Decton Enso, and it's kind of mostly white, but it's got a really nice marbled effect through it as well. So it's not like we've gone kind of very tame on the worktop as well. The worktop definitely has some interest, so don't feel afraid to kind of go bold on your worktop. So I've also laid out some samples here of different two-tone kitchens that I think would work really nicely together. And of course, the first one here is the industrial kitchen that I've already shown you, just in a different light, and of course just to show you how the textures look in real life. And the next one here is more of a Scandi kitchen, so This is a light oak paneled door with a matte grey door. But like I said, we like to layer textures here. So we've got the texture of the paneled door, and then we also have some texture in the worktop. This is Decton Albarium Craft Design, which I'll talk a little bit more about in next week's video. And then if you wanted to go for a two-tone kitchen, but you're thinking you also really like an all black kitchen, then this is a great option for you. So I've mixed a matte black door with a black wood door. Then you could of course go with a really nice all black matte worktop. I think it would look really nice if the worktop was 12 mil and all black. That was just chef's kiss. But this may just be too dark for most people, and again, depends on how much light you have in the room. So alternatively, I think that this Decton Bergen worktop would brighten up the space a little bit. So I've paired these two doors with the Decton Bergen, and it's just a really nice white polished worktop with some black kind of, how do I explain this? It's similar to a marbled worktop, but it kind of looks like chalk, like rubbed out chalk to me. It's quite hard to explain, but I'll put the full slab, picture of the full slab up here. It's a very different worktop. So if you found this video helpful and interesting, don't forget to subscribe. It really helps me out. And if you enjoyed watching this video, I definitely suggest to watch this one next. It's on my favorite kitchen pantry.